සංසාර සාරෝග විනීතනි සං සන්නේත සාතං සුචිසාරදීසං සන්දේරකං සොන්න තනුපලාසං සංලාපදේසෙන් පනමේ බිසාසං සංසාබිගං කේවල මෝහනාසං සන්නාහ කන්මාර රනේ විශේෂං සංසේවිතං දාසි මුදාරහාසං සංහාර ධම්මං පනමේ සදාසං සන්දාස ගන්නා සිත පාපනාසං සන්නාපදන්සින් හතගෝර පාසම් සම්පාරගාමින් සුචිසාරවාසං සංවාර සංගම් පනමේ සදාසම්. Dear friends in Dhamma, first of all, I would like to welcome you to the temple, the Los Angeles Buddhist Vihara Mindfulness Meditation Center. Today, our monthly SIL program. In the SIL program, we observe SIL, especially 8 precepts, and also we listening to Dhamma, and also we practice Dhamma, especially we practice meditation. I would like to explain the Buddha's message in short. All the doctrines that Buddha explained for his entire life can be summarized into one stanza. I think you have heard Sabba Papa Sakaranam, Kusalasa Upasampada, Sacitta Paryodapanam, Etam Buddhana Sasanam. I think you know the meaning. Sabba Papa Sakaranam means not to do any evil. Kusala Upasampada means practicing good deeds. Sacitta Paryodapanam, purifying one's mind. Etam Buddhana Sasanam, this is the message of the Buddhas. This is not only our Gautama Buddha's message. This is the message of all the Buddhas who appeared in the world, who will appear in this world. This is a very common stanza that all Buddhas explain. And according to this message, the first thing is that not to do evil. And second one is practicing good deeds. The third one is purifying one's mind. Actually, even though there are 3 advice here, 3 of them can be summarized into one sentence: purifying one's mind. The Buddha explained the way how we purify our mind little by little. And here, we should understand the negativities, the negative thoughts that disturb our peace of mind. All the negativities, negative thoughts, evils, or defilements can be summarized into 3. They are greed, anger, and delusion. Greed means there are some synonyms like that: desire, attachment, covetousness, like that. Anger means ill will, hatred, like that. And delusion or ignorance. These are the 3 unwholesome mental states that disturb our peace of mind. The Supreme Buddha pointed out the way how we purify our mind and how we achieve the real happiness, the peace of mind. All Buddhist doctrines focus on happiness. Happiness depends on purifying one's mind. We usually think that if you are well educated, if you are very rich, if you have a lot of friends and relatives, we are happy. Actually, that is not the real reasons that decide our happiness. Our happiness completely depends on purifying one's mind. If someone is unable to make us angry or lustful or jealous, That is the real success in our life. That is the measurement that we check whether we are successful, that we are happy. If someone can make us angry or lustful, actually we are not successful. We should be proud of that. No one can disturb my peace of mind. That is the thing Buddha explained in his message. Here, little by little, we are going to discuss Buddha's message. When we discuss Buddha's message, there are 4 things that we should develop in our day-to-day life. The very first one is associating good friends, noble association. The second one is listening to Dhamma. The third one is wise reflection. And the fourth one is practice. These 4 things should be developed from beginning to end on the path of liberation. What they are? They are associating good friends, listening to Dhamma, wise reflection, and practice. What they are? Associating good friends, listening to Dhamma, wise reflection, and practice. Kalyana mittasraya, dharma sravanaya, yoniso manasikaraya, and patipadāva pratipatti practice. The success of our spiritual life depends on how far, how much we have gained, we have acquired these 4 things in our spiritual life. The more we associate good friends who know the Dhamma, who explain the Dhamma, then we can understand what the Buddha's message is. Then we can think it again and again, and also we can practice in our day-to-day life. Actually, we should spend time only for listening to Dhamma. Practicing Dhamma is like breathing in and out. If we know the Dhamma everywhere, it is like a meditation center. Everywhere we go here and there is like a walking meditation. Therefore, the very special thing is the knowing the path. That is why Buddha says, I proclaim the liberation for those who know the path, who see the path. Our spiritual life, liberation, completely depends on the knowing how we know the path. Here it is very important, the understanding, right understanding, or samadhi, vision. Vision is first, then mission. Vision without mission is useless. Mission without vision is blind. Vision without mission is useless. Mission without vision is blind. Both of them, mission and vision as well, are very important. Then first of all, we should understand the first step of samadhi, or right understanding. The Exalted One clearly explains that right understanding or samadhi should be first. Right understanding leads our entire spiritual path. What is the right understanding? Samadhi. I think you have heard about samadhi. What is the samadhi? Samadhi. Right understanding, right vision. Right understanding can be divided into 2. One of them is understanding the Karmic Law. Karmic Law means actions. Karma means whatever we do with intention, physically, verbally, or mentally. According to our mental condition, we will have the same results. When our mind is polluted, because of that polluted mind, the results is evil. When our mind is pure and calm, the results will be fruitful. This is the very first understanding that we gained throughout listening to Dhamma. Here Buddha says, Mano Pubbangama Dhamma. Mind is the forerunner. Mind is chief. Mind made Dade. If someone does something with a wicked mind, because of that, suffering follows him, even as the wheel follows the hoof of the draft oxen. Because of our polluted mind, if we do something physically, verbally, or mentally something with a wicked mind, suffering follows us. We have to face problems. On the other side, Buddha says, mind is the thief, mind is the forerunner, mind made Dade. If someone speaks or acts with a pure mind, because of that pure mind, happiness follows us, even as one's shadow never leaves. If you have this understanding, always we keep our attention in the present moment, pure and calm. And very first step of this path is that Sabba Papa Sakaranang, not to do any evil. Especially we practice 5 precepts in our day-to-day life. What are the 5 precepts? Yes, very good. Abstaining from killing beings, abstaining from stealing, abstaining from sexual misconduct, abstaining from false speech, abstaining from intoxicating drinks and drugs causing heedlessness. You know, we usually say that I protect, I observe 5 precepts. Actually, in the other way, 5 precepts protect us. We usually say that I protect, I observe 5 precepts. Actually, 5 precepts protect us. That is why Buddha says, he who practices Dhamma is protected by the Dhamma. Dhammo have rakkati Dhammacharing. He who practices Dhamma is protected by the Dhamma. When we practice especially 5 precepts, we have confidence. We have no fear. We can go anywhere. We have no doubt. Our close relatives and friends are confident in us. We have no problems if we definitely practice these 5 sins. We can associate with anyone. No problem. Actually, that's a very real safety in our life. And also, not only that, we little by little go forward. The second one is practicing good deeds. When we know that karmic law, the eternal truth, whatever we do with intention, if we know that I will have same results, we always keep our mind pure and calm. When mind is pure and calm, a lot of good deeds happen in our life. Especially there are 3 meritorious deeds. What they are? Dana, generosity, sharing something with others, offering something to others, and sila, or virtue, moral conduct, discipline in our speech and behavior. And also finally, meditation, mental culture, purifying one's mind.
The last one was discipline?
Yes, the first one is generosity, the second one, first one is dana, generosity, the second one is sila or virtue or moral conduct, discipline in our speech and behavior. The third one is meditation, mental culture, meditation, purifying one's mind. Dana, sila, bhavana, generosity, virtue, meditation.
Can you explain the virtue one?
Yes, virtue again, in short, discipline in our speech and behavior. When we do something, when we speak something, we think again and again whether it is correct. Discipline in our speech and behavior, in details, practice in 5 places. And meditation means mental culture, practice and a meditation technique. And Buddha says, why do we need to practice these meritorious deeds?
To collect merit and karma, good karma.
Yes, in one side to collect meritorious deeds, but the final purpose is that our inner peace, happiness. That is why Buddha says, practicing good deeds, meritorious deeds means beautifying our mind, decorating our mind. Practicing good deeds is that food for mind. That is why Buddha says, Piti mudarang vindati data. He who has a generous heart gains a lot of happiness. The more we practice these meritorious deeds, the more we are happy, which is the main purpose of everyone. You know, our heart is generous. We are so happy. We have no greed, no covetousness, no big attachment. Then our heart is very open. We have washed our hands always in order to offer something to others. Practicing generosity is one of the meritorious deeds. We do these things for purifying our mind and for our inner peace. The second one is practicing virtue or moral conduct, sila. If we have discipline in our behavior and speech, we have no regrets, we have no problems. We are able to associate with someone successfully, happily, honestly because of our discipline. We can associate someone very closely if we practice virtue. They have no doubt. They have no problems. We always associate with them openly, correctly, and honestly. And also the main benefit that we receive throughout practicing sila is that we have confidence in our behavior. We have no fear, no doubt. We have no problems with some people if we have a correct life. And also finally Buddha says the highest discipline is that according to Karmic Law, it says Nacha kuddhan samachare kinchi yena vinyo pariupadeyo. We should not do any slight wrong conduct which is censored by the wise. We should not do any slight wrong conduct which is censored by the wise. This is the highest discipline in Buddhism. Okay, later we will discuss it. And also, the third one is meditation. There are 40 meditation techniques in Buddhism. 40 meditation techniques. The main thing we usually practice is that metta bhavana, loving kindness meditation. And also there are some meditation techniques such as Buddhanussati bhavana, the contemplation of the Buddha, Dhammanupassana, the contemplation of the Dhamma, the qualities of the Dhamma, what the Buddha taught, and Sanghanussati, contemplating on the qualities of the Sangha or monks, and contemplating on impurity of our body parts, Asubhavana, contemplating on 4 fundamental elements, Dhatu Manasikara, and Chaganussati, contemplating on charity. These are the meditation techniques that we can practice to concentrate our mind. As the result of practicing meditation techniques, we receive the results. The highest results are that we overcome, we reduce hindrances, negativities from our mind. Especially there are 5 hindrances that disturb our peace of mind. Sensual pleasure, ill will, sloth and torpor, restlessness and worry, and skeptical doubt. These are the hindrances that disturb our peace of mind when we practice meditation techniques. Little by little, gradually, we are able to overcome these negativities from our mind. Especially, practicing loving kindness meditation is highly appreciated in Buddhism. Metta Bhavana means we contemplate on that may all beings be well, happy and peaceful. Again and again, we contemplate on it. As the result of practicing loving kindness meditation, in one side, we collect a lot of merits. On the other side, we purify our mind a lot. And also, we are very strong with our spirituality. Buddha says, in the mundane level, the highest quality that we can practice is that practicing loving kindness meditation. As the result of practicing loving kindness meditation into the higher level, what is the highest attitude that we receive throughout practicing loving kindness meditation? I think you have heard about in Karanimetha Sutta, Mātāya Tāniyam Puttang, Ayusayika Puttamanurakhe. When we see someone, we think that person like our only son or daughter. If we have this attitude, how our mind is so beautiful. We have no problems in our heart with others. A lot of problems happen in this society because of no loving kindness and compassion. If we have compassion and loving kindness, we are able to overcome a lot of problems in this society. In this situation, Buddha always encourage us to practice loving kindness meditation for our inner peace. Day by day, we should try to increase the duration of practicing loving kindness meditation. We can see the result of our life. Day by day, we should try to develop loving kindness meditation. Our success completely depends on our happiness. Our happiness depends on purifying one's mind. Purifying one's mind depends on practicing loving kindness meditation and mindfulness meditation. Our success completely depends on the duration of practicing loving kindness and in mindfulness meditation. Therefore, first of all, we are going to practice loving kindness meditation. And end of the loving kindness meditation, we practice insight meditation too. Insight meditation means vipassana bhavana, reflecting on impermanence. Okay, according to Buddhism, there are 2 meditation techniques. One of them is concentration meditation, such as loving kindness meditation, breathing meditation, and vipassana bhavana. Vipassana bhavana means insight meditation, reflecting on impermanence. Our body is impermanent, our mind is impermanent. Impermanence means every moment our body arises and ceases. Our mind also arises and ceases. Everything is impermanent. The highest quality that we practice in Buddhism is that reflecting on impermanence, contemplating on arising and ceasing of our body and mind. For that, first of all, we are going to practice loving kindness meditation. End of the loving kindness meditation session, we are going to practice insight meditation too. Friends in Dhamma, please get ready for sitting meditation, practicing loving kindness meditation, Metta Bhavana. Straight your body, please. Relax your body. And keep your right hand on the left hand. Close your eyes gently. And be aware of your body posture from your legs to head and from your head to legs. And please take a deep breath in, hold a few seconds, and breathe out slowly. Breathe in, breathe out. Okay, relax your body please again. And keep your attention around the nose or upper lip. Now I don't think my past or future. I keep my attention in the present moment, keeping my awareness near the nose or upper lip. I spread loving kindness to everyone, those who are in this world. May all beings at this temple be well, happy and peaceful. May they attain their final bliss of liberation. May all beings in the east direction be well, happy and peaceful. May they attain their final bliss of liberation. May all beings in the west direction be well, happy and peaceful. May they attain the final bliss of liberation. May all beings in the north direction be well, happy and peaceful. May they attain the final bliss of liberation. May all beings in the south direction be well, happy and peaceful. May they attain the final bliss of liberation. May all beings in the upper direction be well, happy and peaceful. May all beings in the down direction be well, happy and peaceful. May they attain the final bliss of liberation. May all beings be well, happy and peaceful. May all beings be well, happy and peaceful. May they attain the final bliss of liberation. May all beings in the entire world be well, happy and peaceful. May they attain the final bliss of liberation. I see all over the world, like my friends, like my family, I am friendly with everyone, those who are in this world. My mind is so pure and calm. I see everyone like my only son or daughter. May all beings in the world be well, happy and peaceful. May they attain the final bliss of liberation. sadhu, sadhu. Okay, friends in Dhamma, first of all, we practice loving kindness meditation. I think you feel some results when you practice loving kindness meditation. We are able to focus our mind in a particular wholesome object, such as loving kindness meditation. Then little by little, our mind purifies, and mind goes to purify as the result of practicing loving kindness meditation. Here, first of all, we explained the very first level of samadhi in Buddhism, right understanding. When we practice generosity, virtue, and loving kindness meditation, we can see some results in this life itself, such as longevity, good health, good complexion, having good friends, and success of our education and career. These are the results that we can see in this immediate life. Those are the results of practicing Dhamma. Buddha says there are 6 qualities of Dhamma. Swakhato Bhagavata Dhammo. Dhamma is well expounded by the exalted one. Sanditiko, directly visible. Akaliko, immediately effective. Ehipasiko, calling one to come and see. Opanaiko, leading onwards. And Pacchatthang Veditabbo Vinyohi, to be personally realized by the wise. These are the qualities of the Dhamma. We can see the results in this immediate life. We discussed the first level of Samadhi or right vision. But still we are not away from ignorance. Even though we practice generosity, although we have discipline in our speech and behavior, although we practice loving kindness meditation a lot in our day-to-day life, but still we have ignorance, delusion. What is the ignorance?
Assuming that you know everything and you're closed-minded. You always, if someone is trying to help you, say I know, but we should just throw I know out of our vocabulary and be open to learning something else.
Yes. Furthermore, we discuss ignorance or delusion, especially we are discussing the meaning of ignorance, what the Buddha taught. That is the very important thing. And our life is 6 internal senses and 6 external objects. We experience the world through our senses. What are the senses? Eye, ear, nose, tongue, body, and mind. These are the internal senses. And what are the objects, external objects? Forms, sound, smell, taste, feeling, and mental formations. These are the external objects. Our entire life is these 6 internal senses and 6 external objects. We should understand the nature of these facts. And ignorance means when we see something, when we hear something, when we taste something, when we smell something, when we touch something, when we remember something, what happens to our mind?
It goes back to how you were feeling in that moment.
Yes, we usually think some material things and forms. As soon as we remember something, Suddenly our mind is fixed external objects or persons. For example, I can give an example. If I take a picture you and I give that picture to you, then you look at the picture. First of all, what you look at? You look at your own picture, whether I am beautiful or like that. How is my appearance? You suddenly look at your own picture. And how do you recognize your picture? That you are there? No. How you identify your picture that is yours? Have you seen your face by yourself ever? You have seen your reflection through the mirror. Okay? You never seen your own picture by your eyes. You have seen your picture through the mirror. And when you look at the picture, you remember the reflection in the mirror. When you think that reflection in the mirror, it is there now? No. At the moment, your reflection is not in the mirror. How do you remember it? Where is it?
In your mind.
Yes, it is in our mind. Like that. When you remember your mom, your brother, do you think that you are thinking just now picture? No. You are thinking the last picture that you seen your mom or your brother. When you remember that picture, that person, your eye has seized, that form has seized, you read your own mind. But our ignorance doesn't accept it. Our delusion says that, no, my brother, my sister, there is a person outside. Still he is there. Our ignorance or delusion says, no, there is a person outside. When you think it, you are thinking the present person. Who says that? Our delusion, our ignorance. This is the nature of the delusion. That is a deep concept in Buddhism. That is why suffering arises in our mind. When we think there is person outside, actually when that form changes, we are suffering. When you think some picture that you have seen in the mirror, when you go away from the mirror, do you have fear that someone has blamed that reflection, someone hit that reflection? Do you have a fear? No. Why is that? You know very well, as soon as you move from the mirror, it disappears. It ceases. Therefore, we have no any doubt about the reflection which was in the mirror. But when you think a pet or dog or cat, when it goes to the mirror, what happens to it? He thinks that there is another person there. Not only that, after he moved there, again he goes and barks and jumps there because he thinks that there is some person there. And also he goes to back and look at there and again come back. But we are not ignorant in front of the mirror. However, other places, actually other places also like that. When we smell something, when we hear something, when we touch something, when we taste something, when we remember something, at the moment, the present experience arises. Like we go to the mirror. Before we go to the mirror, there wasn't a reflection there. As soon as we go to the mirror, the reflection appears there with some reasons. When we move there, immediately it ceases. Our entire experience of our life throughout that we take through our six senses also like that. But our ignorance doesn't believe it. Our ignorance or delusion always says that when you experience something, there was something here. After you experience it, the thing, the objects remain there. In the conventional truth, there are something outside. Now we are talking about the absolute truth, which helps us to overcome suffering completely, what the Buddha explained. According to the absolute truth, there is something outside, but that depends on the moment, at the moment. When we experience something at the moment, we contact something through our senses, but the very important thing, the very first experience come to our eye, come to our sounds, smell like that. But when we recognize it, what happens to us? When we recognize it, the very first experience has ceased. That is very instant. This is the place where we should be confident in what the Buddha taught. Saddha. We can never imagine it by ourselves. That is why we need to listen to what the Buddha taught. This is the very highest realization that Buddha gained when he attained enlightenment. When we see something, when we hear something, when we taste something, when we smell something, when we touch something, when we remember something, in first experience we contact through our senses with objects, but that very first experience is very instant. It arises and ceases immediately. Then we come to the next level. Then if we are ignorant, what happens to us? We think there is something outside. Then our mind is fixed in outside. When it's changed, we suffer. We are suffering. But if we are wise and mindful, what happens to us? As soon as we look at something, we understand, I recognize this thing through my mind consciousness. First experience has ceased. For an example, when you look at the sky at night, you can see some stars in the sky. Sometimes, even though we see those are stars, actually those are not stars, but galaxies. They are very far. You know, sometimes when we look at the sky, when we look at a star or galaxy, that galaxy or star has been ceased for a long time. Because it is very far, the light has come for a long time. Now that thing is not that place. Our all experiences also like that. Not only that far away star or galaxy, but even you look at me now. When you recognize me, Actually, your first eye has ceased, your that form has ceased, eye consciousness has ceased. You recognize me not through your eye consciousness, but through your mind consciousness. This is very difficult understanding what we gained throughout listening to Dhamma. If we have this understanding, we understand suffering or happiness doesn't come from outside. Happiness or suffering completely created by ourselves. Happiness or suffering is completely made by our ignorance. In this situation, we should understand the dependent origination, the very main topic in Buddhism. Patisampada, idapachitavya, causality, cause and effect. When we have ignorance, which means if we think there is something outside, and outside persons and things bring me suffering or happiness, it means we are ignorance. And what is the wisdom? The opposite of ignorance. The world arises at the moment, according to our present mental condition. The form depends on not this material thing, but for our mental situation. For an example, when you look at a star in the sky at night, you see there is a star. Through your eye, you look at the sky, you see a star. When you use a telescope, then you see it is not a star, that is a galaxy. The second time you saw that it is a galaxy. Next, you use another very sensitive telescope. Then you see not just one galaxy, that is millions of galaxies there. Then what is the truth? One star or one galaxy or millions of galaxies? What is the reality? Actually, there is no truth or false. It depends on our eye, the ability of eye. The form decides the ability of our eye. The ability of eye depends on our present mental condition. According to our present mental condition, the eye arises at the moment. According to our eyes, the form appears outside. For example, there are some beings in this world which are invisible to us. There were some pretas, some ghosts. They were born near a waterfall. They are very thirsty, but they are unable to drink the water. Why is that? They see that water like blood. This is true. The normal person, the ordinary person, go to the lake and they have some water, they drink water. But there were some ghosts who were born near the lakes. They are unable to see some water according to their karmic energy. Because of their some bad actions, previous actions, they are very thirsty, but they are unable to drink the water. At the same time, there is another ghost who is near there. At the moment, he doesn't see any water or any blood. He sees only sand. This is the nature of the world. in this situation, the outside forms depend on not the material things outside, but the ability of our eyes. The ability of eyes depend on our present mental condition. For example, now you are pleased to me, you are pleasant to me. But suddenly, if I blame you, what happens to you? Not present, yes. Good, correct. Before a while, you were present to me, but after I blame you, you may get upset. You are angry with me. If anger comes from outside, you would be angry before I blamed you. Why you got angry with me after I blame you? Does my body changes? No. Your mind changes. Your mind changed. According to your present mental condition, your eye changed. Then according to your eyes, the forms change. If I live here after I blaming you, even though you look at this seat, you may get angry. This is the place where that guy was sitting who blamed me. Like that, in this situation, nobody or nothing brings us happiness or suffering. Happiness or suffering completely created by ourselves. If we can understand this reality, then knowledge is very important. First of all, we understand this reality, then we practice the path. What is the path? Path is mindfulness. Mindfulness or three discipline, or discipline in speech and behavior, and concentration and wisdom with details, the Noble Eightfold Path. And here, if you have this understanding, our energetic will increases. Why? If we are ignorant, we have to blamed by many people. We have to face many problems when outside persons and things change. Every moment we have to get suffering. If we can be mindful and wise, nobody or nothing can disturb our peace of mind. Therefore, we have to practice mindfulness again and again. What is the highest practice? As soon as we look at something, we should think that I understand this form through my mind consciousness. When I understand this chairs, the first experience has ceased, my eye has ceased, my eye consciousness has ceased. I understand these things through my mind consciousness. When you listen to my voice, you should be mindful and wise. When I understand this Bhante sound, I understand not through my ear consciousness, but through my mind consciousness. Our spiritual success completely depends on the place between our experience and our understanding. Sometimes we are delayed. When we have no mindfulness, if we haven't heard this message before, then we think outside persons and things bring me suffering. But if we are mindful, we understand suddenly, this experience has already ceased. Now I understood this experience through my mind consciousness. Suffering created myself. in this situation, we understand Four Noble Truths, the main doctrine in Buddhism. Four Noble Truths. Four Noble Truths is the main topic in Buddhism. What are the Four Noble Truths? Dukkha Satya, the noble truth of suffering. And the second one, Samudaya Satya, the noble truth of the origin of suffering, cause of suffering. And Nirodha Satya, the noble truth of the cessation of suffering. And Magga Satya, the noble truth of that leads to getting rid of suffering. What is the first noble truth of suffering? What is the suffering that Buddha explained? We usually say that, Jatipi dukkha, birth is suffering, Jarapi dukkha, decay is suffering, aging is suffering, disease is suffering, death is suffering, separation from beloved is suffering, associating with not pleased is suffering, like that. These are the common sufferings in this world. But when we go to the deeper level in Buddhism, there is a very special explanation in Buddhism. Your understanding completely depends on this sentence. Buddha says very clearly, there is something except physical suffering and mental suffering. That is the noble truth of suffering. Do you know anything except physical suffering and mental suffering? Nobody knows it. Buddha says, there is some suffering. Without mental suffering and physical suffering. Our understanding completely depends on this understanding. Buddha says, there is something except from physical suffering and mental suffering, that is the noble truth of suffering. What is that? Very first experience that we receive through our senses. That is just a result of our previous actions. When we see something, when we hear something, the very first experience is neither pleasant nor unpleasant. Neither wholesome nor unwholesome. That is just result. That is neutral. Vipaka is neutral. Result is neutral. Very first experience is neutral. That is the noble truth of suffering. When we are ignorant, we take those experiences as me, as myself. That is the cause of suffering. The very first thing is the noble truth of suffering, the very first experience. That is neutral. That is neither pleasant nor unpleasant. That is neither wholesome nor unwholesome. That is neutral. The very first experience should be realized. We are unable to overcome or reduce the first experience. Buddha never says us to reduce the first experience. When Buddha appeared in the world, there were some ascetic people who had realized that the very first experience should be removed. But the Buddha didn't accept it. One day, a person who is from another monastery came to visit Buddha. He is not a Buddhist, Buddha's follower. He is another religious person's follower. When he came to Buddha, Buddha asked a question from him. Buddha asked him, how does your teacher teach you discipline or liberation? Then that person says, Bhante, my master says that don't look at something, don't hear something, don't smell something. That is the discipline. That is the path of liberation. That person says, his master says that don't see anything, don't smell anything, don't hear anything. Then you may discipline yourself. Then Buddha asks a question. If this is a real discipline, there were some blind and deaf people in the world. There are blind people in the world. There are deaf people in the world. Are they ascetic people? Have they attained liberation? No. In this situation, Buddha says, even though you close your eyes, even though you close your ears, you are not a person who has discipline. Buddha says, Nate kama yani chitrani loke. Outside, beautiful things are not lustful or angry. Outside persons or things are unable to bring you lust or anger or hatred or delusion. Lust, hatred or delusion depends on your own mind. In this situation, Buddha says, the very first experience should not be removed. It is common. It's the result. We should realize the first experience. How do we realize the first experience? The very first experience is neutral, it is impermanent, it arises and ceases at the moment, it immediately ceases. When I recognize that first experience, I recognize everything through my present mind consciousness. When we recognize something through our present mind consciousness, the very first experience, our eyes, our nose, our tongue, our ear, our body, our mind has ceased. Not only that, forms, smell, sounds, taste, touch, and mental formations have ceased. We recognize some perceptions and feelings about the previous experience through our mind and mind consciousness. That experience also arises and ceases. It is impermanent. When we see this reality, what happens to us? Nothing to attach or detach. We need to only have this experience. We have no attachment, no detachment, no lust, no anger. Always we should need to practice mindfulness and wisdom. We should keep our full attention in the present moment. If we lost mindfulness, it means we fail. Whenever we are in mindfulness, it means we are in the field of the Buddha. Whenever we are out of mindfulness, it means we are in the field of the Mara, devil. Why? When we are in mindfulness, which is the field of the Buddha, we have protection. We are protected by mindfulness. Whenever we are away from mindfulness, then we are in the field of the Mara. Then Mara can control us. Devil can control us. Evil can control us. When we are mindful, nobody or nothing can control us. Nobody or nothing can disturb our peace of mind. Nobody can make us angry or lustful or jealous. The reason is that our mind is not fixed any material things outside. It doesn't mean that there are no materials outside. Actually, there are materials outside. But be sure, we never recognize materials through our body consciousness. When it touches this bell, I understand it. My body has ceased. My contact has ceased. Body consciousness has ceased. I recognize this bell not through my body consciousness, but through my mind consciousness. You believe we never reach the materials. We never touch our mom. Even we never touch our body. We touch the four fundamental elements. We never touch a person, a mom, or daughter, or a son. We touch, four fundamental elements. Earth element, water element, fire element, and air elements. These are the four fundamental elements which are outside. In the outside, there are no chairs, no flowers, no mothers, no daughters. Daughter or chair or is inside, not outside.
So does Buddhism take after like living a holistic lifestyle, like Ayurvedic lifestyle? Because I listen to this podcast, and one of these influencers named Jay Shetty and his wife Radhi, and he used to be a monk, and they practice living a holistic lifestyle, and the wife, she teaches living an Ayurvedic lifestyle, so like herbs, how specific herbs, when you intake them, it helps with like anxiety, depression, all that stuff. So I was just wondering if Buddhism also takes after that holistic kind of lifestyle.
Buddhist point of view that and the holistic life is that living with this understanding. Okay, when we understand this reality, we can help others. We can associate our parents, our children, our brothers and sisters. We are able to associate with them, but with this understanding. Buddhism never says us to go to the jungle for everyone. Actually, while we are living at home, with this understanding, we can overcome suffering. We can make a holy place at home. We should not need a separate life. The only need that we should have our perception, our point of view. When our vision changes into correct way, we can make a meditation center at home. It doesn't mean that we should not do our response or we should not do our responsibilities. Actually, we can do our responsibilities and duties for other people. But the main thing is understanding the world and changing our perception. When we change our perception, we can associate others. And also we can spend a holy life at home. And it doesn't mean that there is no materials outside. There are conventional truths outside. According to Buddhism, there are two truths, conventional truth and absolute truth. Conventional truth depends on karmic law. Karmic law depends on the conventional truth. a lot of religions explain karma. Buddhism also explains the karma. But the karma depends on the conventional truth. In the conventional truth, Buddha says, Kamma sakomi, kamma dayado, kamma yoni, kamma bandhu. Karma is my inheritor. Karma is my owner. Karma is my refuge. Whatever I do with intention, good or bad, I will receive it as results. That belongs to conventional truth. When we go to the higher level, the absolute truth, it depends on the dependent origination. It means the experience arises at the moment. The experience, the present experience didn't come to the present from the past. The present experience will not go to future from the present. This is Buddhism. And other religions, they always depend on outside. They always explain their discipline having something outside. Buddhism also explains something in the conventional truth. We should do good activities, good karma, for a blissful life hereafter. That belongs to the conventional truth. All other religions and teachers explain their teachings. There are something outside. We should compassionate. We should pay our compassion to them. We should have discipline. We should offer something to them. We should help them. We should spread our loving kindness to everyone because there is a world. But Buddhism is different. Buddhist perspective is complete difference. What is the difference? They explain their teachings depending on outside world.
But Buddhism teaches that happiness comes within us.
Yes, happiness comes within us. Not only that, Buddhism explains the way not to create a world, outside world. That is says in Buddhism, Anutpada Nirodha, the cessation not to create something outside. They have created something outside by their ignorance, and they explain their disciplines and meritorious deeds depending on outside. But we, the Buddha's disciples, we understand the outside world is created by ourselves. If we don't create an outside world, then we don't need outside discipline. When we say that when I recognize, when I understand this bell, if it is its first experience has ceased, then I see outside world like empty. That is sunyata. Empty means in the present moment, through my mind, I am unable to recognize something. The reason is that when I come to understand it, the very first material experience has ceased. Then we not create a material world. It has a very deep meaning. Have any question?
So basically, like, Buddhism's learning about not being attached to materialistic things like anything like clothes or cars.
In the conventional truth, we have to associate with beings, persons and material things. It is common. It is not bad. we have to associate, even the Buddha was living in a very luxurious temple. In India, Jetavanaramaya, it was a very valuable palace. It is not just a temple, but he had not attachment. While we are using those materials and associating with some people, if we haven't attachment mentally, that should be done. That is the Buddhist purpose. That is the Buddhist vision. The reason is that Buddha says very clearly, beauty is not lustful. Beauty is not anger. Anger or lust arises inside, not outside. In conventional truth, we can associate, we can use something. It is not fault. What is the fault? Fault is that if we take something mentally as me, as myself, that is the cause of suffering. Outside materials or persons are not the reason of suffering. The reason of suffering, the cause of suffering is inside, not outside. And also, in the conventional truth, we associate with these things, and mentally we say there is nothing outside. There is something outside, but it comes to our understanding the very first experience has ceased. Then the very interesting thing, very high understanding, when we look at something which is not pleasant, if we are mindful and wise, we can take it as pleasant. When there is something, this is pleasant, we can take, if we like, as not pleasant. If we want to overcome pleasant and unpleasant, and also if we need to think it as neutral, we can think it as neutral. That is why Arahants, actually, they appreciated the environment. They have explained some songs, Arahants, who eradicated their defilements completely. They have appreciated some waterfalls, some sounds of birds, some trees are appreciated by enlightened persons. But they have done it mindfully and wisely. That is the difference. That is why, sometimes some princes, some kings came to visit the Buddha and Buddha's disciples. Sometimes Buddha was under a tree. One of kings asked Bhante, last night, I slept in the palace, but you have slept under a tree. But you are more pleasant than me. I slept in the very luxurious palace. You have slept under a tree. But you are more pleasant than me. What is the reason? You are so happier than me. Even I am a king, I have no such a happiness. Bhante, what is the reason? Buddha says, I have no regrets about my past. I have no wishes in my future. I live in the present moment. That is the reason why I am happy. Buddha says, ordinary people, they have regrets about thinking their past. And also people have fear with thinking their future. But past experience has ceased. Future hasn't come yet. We are in the present moment. If we are able to succeed the present moment, it means we can succeed our entire life. It doesn't mean that we are very lazy, we don't do our studies, we don't do our jobs. Actually, that is not Buddhism. After we have this understanding, we do very well our study. We get not only one master degree, we will pass 2 master degrees. We will have 2 doctorates. We are proud of our education, but we study to go forward with it spiritually, not only materially. And also having good education, having doing some jobs righteously, we earn money for our spiritual life, not for just collecting some materialism. We use everything for our spiritual path. Our skills, our energy, our strength, our beauty, our education, our knowledge, our wisdom, everything we use for our spiritual life by acquiring education and other things. The reason is that we have received a very valuable life. We live in a short time. We don't live for 100 years. Our life is very limited. Therefore, we develop our mind to the maximum level in this valuable time. We have a very rare chance. Western philosophers, they discuss their final goals, the final goals of people in the world. Last 4-5 decades, psychologists, counselors, and philosophers, they have come together and they discuss what are the final goals of persons in this world. They have realized there are 3 wishes and goals of people in the world. What they are: self-realization, self-actualization, and self-fulfillment. What is the self-realization? Understanding who I am. Yeah. Understanding who I am. And what is self-actualization? What is the highest achievement? Highest achievement is the highest goal. Buddha says happiness. Happiness is the highest actualization. And also self-fulfillment. Yes, giving back or satisfaction or being fully happy. In the current society, what is the main problem within elders? What is the main mental problem within elders?
About afterlife.
This life, end of this life. What is the main problem of their life? Loneliness. Loneliness is the main problem within elders, especially in the West and Europe, but not in Eastern countries. Why is that? They always depend on outside. They need some people to talk with them. When they are alone, they are unhappy. They worry. But what is the highest goal, highest happiness of Eastern people?
Self-fulfillment.
Yes, self-fulfillment and living alone. Living alone, the highest goal of aesthetic people. But here the main problem is loneliness. How is the difference?
And that's what leads to like depression and anxiety.
Yes, the reason of anxiety and depression is that they always depend on outside. they don't make a refuge inside. That is the reason. Always they depend on outside persons and things. And also even they depend on their physical body. When their physical body changes, they worry. They are unhappy. When they are beautiful, is very good complexion, they are happy, but when they are going to old age, when they are weak, they are unhappy. But when we develop our mind, when we are alone, we are so happy. The reason is that we have more time to practice Dhamma. Because we have created some inside refuge. While we are alone, we practice meditation, loving kindness meditation, breathing meditation. Our happiness depends on inside our mind. Then, when people neglect us, we are so happy. When people disturb us, then we are silent, but we are more happier when we are alone. In this situation, Buddha says, dwell with yourself as a refuge, as an island, with no other refuge. Dwell with the Dhamma as a refuge, as an island, with no other refuge. It doesn't mean that we should go away from our relatives and friends. Actually, while we are living in the society, as an ordinary person, but mentally we should live in the higher level, like a lotus flower, which comes from outside. Lotus flower origins in the mud, and it comes from mud, and it doesn't touch mud or water. We should like a lotus flower. By practicing Dhamma, physically, while we are living in the ordinary people, mentally we don't touch their defilements, their negativities. We have more qualities. While we are associating with them physically, mentally we are in the supramundane level. While they are unhappy, while they are crying, we are in equanimity. We have a balanced mind. That is why Buddha says, when someone sees this reality, impermanence, selflessness, dissatisfaction, he makes an unshakable mind that no one can disturb his peace of mind. According to Mangala Sutta, the discourse of bliss, Buddha says, Puttasroka dhammehi kittang yassana kampati asokang virajam khemang etam mangalam uttamam. Making an unshakable mind among the worldly conditions, labha alabha, gain and loss, yasa ayasa, honor and dishonor, prasansa ninda, praise and blame, sukha dukkha, happiness and misery. Among these 8 world conditions, if we are able to make an unshakable mind, that is the highest bliss in our life. When we see this reality, impermanence, our senses always arise and cease. External objects arise and cease at the moment according to our mental condition. And 6 consciousnesses arise and cease at the moment. I have only mind and mental formations and mind consciousness. Those things also arise and cease at the moment. We see only thing which happens in the world is that impermanence. Arising, ceasing, arising, ceasing. We see this reality every moment. Our entire life is impermanence. Yes, please.
Yeah. This is just before you explain about the conventional truth and the absolute truth.
Yes.
Would you explain the absolute truth again? Because I understood the conventional truth is positive. You do good thing and good thing happen to you.
Yes, first of all, Buddha explained the conventional truth. Karma also depends on the conventional truth.
Yeah, how about the absolute truth?
Yes. First of all, I will explain the conventional truth. According to our mental condition, if we do good activities, we will have the good results, fruitful results. And also, if we do bad deeds with a polluted mind, then results are evil or negative. That belongs to the conventional truth. But when we go to the absolute truth, it belongs to the noble truth of suffering. It means our entire lives depends on our present perspective. It means when we experience something, the very first experience is instant, and also the very first experience we are unable to recognize the first experience. We recognize something, the first experience has ceased. We understand something through our present mental condition. Then we understand the previous experience has ceased, the future hasn't come yet, I am in the present, that present moment is also impermanent. Impermanent. Then we don't take anything as me, as mine, as myself.
Because few months back, as I discussed with my colleague, was except me, everybody is a Christian and Catholic, and we discussed about kind of their own religion. And then one of my colleagues asked me, my name is Julia. Julia, what is the ultimate truth in Buddhism? And then couldn't answer. Because, well, what is ultimate truth?
Yes, ultimate truth is that in one sentence, not being occurred comes to occurrence, being occurred will not go to occurrence. It means the past didn't come to the present will not go to future.
I know, but what is it? That time is I just thought that, okay, so no self is the ultimate truth or impermanent dukkha, but I couldn't figure out is what is the ultimate truth in that time, because as I believe is Buddha explains something taught us something, but actually the Buddha never say, oh, this is the ultimate truth. As I understood.
Now Buddha has explained. Buddha has explained. Yes,
oh,
yes.
Yeah, so how to explain to my colleague if in the future I receive those type of
Yes, the thing is the conventional truth. According to conventional truth, we go from birth to birth.
Yeah.
We have a previous life, we have a this life, we are going to next birth according to our present mental condition.
Yeah,
That, yes, we are in a samsaric circle. That belongs to conventional truth. According to ultimate truth, we don't say that I had a past birth, I will have a next birth. When someone asks some questions from Buddha, Bhante, if I had a past life, Buddha was silent. Bhante, may I have a next birth? Buddha was silent. Why is that? He is asking that question depending on the, permanency. He thinks that there is some particular permanent thing which comes from birth to birth. Buddhism doesn't accept it. Buddhism believes the karmic law. We receive some karmic results, but it depends on our present mental condition. Even though we receive past experience, if we are mindful and if we have liberated from the present moment, the results are unable to influence us. If we are in the samsaric circle, in the conventional truth, then our karmic result can influence us. Yes. If we liberated from suffering, those karmic results are unable to influence us because we don't touch it. If you blamed me, if I am mindful and wise, if I realize completely. What happens at the moment? You are unable to make me angry or lustful. This is the absolute truth. When we achieve the absolute truth, we don't take anything as me, as myself, as mine. But in the conventional truth, we take everything. This is mine, this is me, this is myself. Yes, it should be a long discussion. Actually, we have to discuss a lot of things. Especially, we should recognize the dependent origination of Patisampada.
In the Buddhism, I've been Buddhist for a long time, but usually when we discuss about not discuss, we are talking about the Buddhism, and then I want to share my experience and my thoughts to other religion or other people. It's very difficult to explain just one word, and when they say about something, and I couldn't answer when they ask some question. Some question is really difficult.
Yes, I can understand you. Yes, actually, we have to discuss a lot. The reason is that ordinary people always think according to their perspective. All other people, they always discuss something, creating something outside. There is a table, there are persons, there are chairs. Actually, these things are created by our ignorance. Then we discuss. For example, as I mentioned before, there is a star in the sky. That star has ceased for a long time. Now it is not there. But still we can see it. Then we criticize. We think, I like it, I don't like it, I hate it. We criticize a lot. But the reality is that star has ceased for a long time.
So in this case, actually, I'm going to write about the Buddhism in America. So like this way, very difficult to explain. And then even though you are in Buddhist for a long time, also not sure about how to figure it out, the concept of the terminology. And how do you think about how to spread? It's not correct way, but how to kind of spread Buddhism in United States to young people. It's so complicated and it's so difficult to explain. And then when the young people ask a certain question to Buddhists, not you, to Buddhists like to me, I couldn't answer. It looks like Buddhism is difficult and Buddhism is very ambiguous, and so it's.
Yes, actually, Buddha says very clearly, this message is difficult to understand. This is not common way. Actually, the few people can understand the Dhamma. In the ordinary level, doctrines can be realized by anyone, such as karma, good karma, generosity, compassion, loving kindness, can be practiced by anyone. Actually, that belongs to conventional truth. Even Dalai Lama explains some doctrines in the conventional truth. Compassion, friendliness, loving kindness, generosity, bodhisattva qualities.
Yeah, there is a same as other religion too. There are other religions.
Yes, that is very true. Actually, those qualities can be seen in other religions too. We should understand what is the reality, what is the unique in Buddhism. That is the very important thing. When some new person comes to Buddhism, they ask what is the difference between Buddhism and other religions. Actually, this is the absolute truth, which is the unique in Buddhism. Impermanence. Impermanence means not just changing, but it has a deep meaning. For example, this sound. Someone can say that this bell may be going to change. My ear is one day going to decay or destroy. That can be realized by anyone. That is not impermanence in Buddhism. What is the impermanence in Buddhism? The sound. The sound arises at the moment because of several reasons. When reasons are together, the sound arises. But this sound didn't come to the present from the past. This sound will not go to future from the present. This arises and ceases at the moment. On the other side, even though this sound arises because of this bell, but this sound doesn't belong to bell. This sound doesn't belong to this thin stick. And also, even this sound doesn't belong to my ears. The other thing is, without any reason, the sound doesn't arise. But this sound doesn't belong to any reason. And also, this sound arises and ceases at the moment. Our all experiences are like that. Whatever we see, whatever we hear, whatever we smell, whatever we taste, whatever we touch, whatever we remember, all the experiences arises at the moment. This is the difference in Buddhism. But other religions, even though they believe the Karmic Law, they believe outside things change, but they believe that there is a permanent thing, mind, are going from birth to birth, which is permanent. But Buddhism doesn't believe any particular thing, any permanent thing, even mind. Mind also changes from moment to moment. But there are some religions in the world who believe the Karmic Law, but they don't believe an impermanent mind. Even Hindus, they think there is a permanent mind as reincarnation, which goes from life to life. They think there is some permanent soul or mind. But the difference in Buddhism is that Buddhism doesn't accept any particular permanent thing, even our mind. That also changes from moment to moment. But we have karmic results according to our previous actions. But there is no permanent person who receives these results. There are results. There is a person who receives, but there is not a particular person, the permanent person who does karma, who receives the results. This is the absolute truth. According to conventional truth, there is a particular person who does karma, who receives the results. That is why Buddha says, when someone asks some questions, if I had a past birth, do I have a next birth? When some people ask these questions, Buddha was silent. Why is that? If Buddha answered these questions, Buddha has accepted the particular permanent mind or consciousness. That is why Buddha was silent. But Buddha always encouraged us to practice good deeds, meritorious deeds for a blissful life. Because now we depend on the conventional truth. Until we achieve this absolute truth, we depend on the conventional truth. Our next birth decides the conventional truth, not the absolute truth. When we become the absolute truth, we have overcome karma. We have no birth, rebirth. Until we achieve the understanding of the absolute truth, we have to do something according to conventional truth. Whenever we realize completely the absolute truth, we don't need to collect good deeds. That says in Buddhism, punya papa pahinassa. Then merits and demerits are overcome. After we attain enlightenment, Not only we overcome demerits, but even merits are overcome by us. That is the interesting thing. But now in this level, we depend on the conventional truth. That is why we are encouraged by the Supreme Buddha to do good deeds, such as generosity, virtue, loving kindness, meditation are important to our conventional truth life. But when we analyze, when we understand and achieve the absolute truth, we don't need to practice any qualities. We automatically have discipline. In that situation, there is some words Buddha says, asaddo akatanyo. Asaddo means we have no confidence in what the Buddha taught. Why is that? We should need confidence until we achieve the liberation. After we achieve liberation, no more we need confidence in Buddha. Akatanyo means we don't have to anything. For example, if you go to a new place, until you reach the destination, you should believe the address. After you go to the destination, do you need to believe address? No, that is your own experience. Until you reach the destination, final destination, you look at the navigator. When you reach the destination, when you see the banners, this is Los Angeles, this is Las Vegas, this is New York, then you have no more confidence. Now that is your own experience. Like that. Until we achieve the absolute truth, we have to practice good deeds in our day-to-day life. But when we achieve the liberation or absolute truth, enlightenment, then we have self-discipline. We are in equanimity. We are in neutral. We have no doubts, no debates, no challenges, no struggles. We have accepted the world reality as it is, impermanence, dissatisfaction, and selflessness. Anicca, dukkha, anatta. The more we realize these three characteristics, the more we are neutral. The more we neutral, it means the more we have liberated from suffering and the samsaric circle as well. Absolute truth means that understanding the impermanence in the present moment, we create the world by ourselves according to our present mental condition. When we realize these things, we see the world like the empty village. Empty village. Empty means no material world. We create everything in mind. But there is a material world according to conventional truth. But that conventional truth is very instant. When we recognize something, material world has ceased. If we have this understanding, we have overcome suffering. Nobody or nothing can disturb our peace of mind. We have created the liberation, freedom by ourselves. Have any question? Then, practicing mindfulness in the present moment, we have to reflect on impermanence which happened in the past moment. I is impermanent, forms are impermanent, I consciousness is impermanent, I contact is impermanent. These things should be constantly contemplated by ourselves as impermanent, as dissatisfactory, and as selfless. I is impermanent, forms are impermanent, I consciousness is impermanent. Ear is impermanent, sound is impermanent, ear consciousness is impermanent. Nose is impermanent, smell is impermanent, nose consciousness is impermanent. My my tongue is impermanent, and taste is impermanent, and consciousness is impermanent. Body is impermanent, and feeling is impermanent. Body consciousness is impermanent. Mind is impermanent. Mind consciousness is impermanent. Mental formations are impermanent. Again and again we reflect on impermanence. The more we reflect on impermanence, the more we overcome four fundamental elements. Our mind is not fixed any material things. It doesn't mean that we are unable to experience something, we are unable to see something. Actually, we can see something. That very first experience comes to our senses, but just a very primary experience. When we go to the clear understanding, the first experience has ceased. We understand everything through our mind consciousness. That mind consciousness also impermanent. It arises and ceases at the moment. The present mind consciousness didn't come to the present from the past. That present mind consciousness will not go to future from the present. It arises and ceases at the moment. It is not mine, it is not me, it is not myself. This is the way how we see the results of the Dhamma, what the Buddha taught. Dhamma is well expounded by the Exalted One. Sanditiko, directly visible. Akaliko, immediately effective. What is the directly effective, directly visible, immediately effective? If you have this understanding, do you have any attachment with someone? No, you do your duties and responsibilities very well than you did before, without attachment. Then nobody can disturb your peace of mind. Nobody can make you angry or lustful. Nobody can bring you suffering or happiness. We understand suffering or happiness is made by myself. It doesn't come from outside. This is the real freedom, liberation, enlightenment, emancipation, Nibbana, what the Buddha taught. For that we have to practice Dhamma. This is only just the knowledge, vision. What is the mission? Mission is practicing mindfulness. Being aware of your body and mind. Every moment, be aware of your body. And be aware of what you speak, what you do. And be aware of what the situation of your mind is. And always we take care of our mind. Even though our mind destroys, but we take care of our mind. Why is that? Mind, the main reason that decides our happiness or suffering. If mind is ignorant or not mindful, then our mind is fixed in outside, then anyone can disturb our peace of mind. When we are mindful, at the moment, nobody or nothing can disturb our peace of mind. That is the real freedom. With this understanding, even though we are in the prison, we have liberation, freedom. Without this understanding, even though you are in a palace, you are like in the prison. With this understanding, even though we are in the prison, we have liberation, freedom. Even though we are in the luxurious palace, Without this understanding, how we are like in the prison. Why is that? We are controlled by outside. In the prison also like that. Outside jailers and other people are controlling us. But if you have this understanding, we are the fortunate people in this planet with the Dhamma of the Buddha, what the Supreme Buddha explained. For that, let's try to develop our mind. In the very first level, we should practice generosity, virtue, and loving kindness meditation in the mundane level, and also we should practice mindfulness in the supramundane level, being aware of our body and mind. Then this is the real bliss of your life. You know, there are some people, while they are practicing Dhamma, sometimes they pass more than 1 bachelor degrees. Sometimes we have seen there are some people who are practicing Dhamma. While they are practicing Dhamma, they gain more than 4 master degrees. Sometimes they get double doctorates. While they are practicing Dhamma, they can go forward in their education. But they do everything for their inner peace. Not only that, they want to bring this message to the world, improving their language skills too. They study psychology, philosophy, social science, some languages, not only verbal languages, sometimes they learn sign language, American Sign Language too. Why do they learn those things? They want to their own mind, and also they want to bring this message to the many people. That is the reason why they learn several languages with compassion. With compassionate heart, they learn a lot of things. And also they earn a lot of money righteously, honestly, correctly. But they do everything for reducing their defilements, desire, conceit, and self-view. This should be our wish in our life as wise people who listening to Buddha's message. Okay, for that, I wish you all the best. If you have any question, you can ask. By listening to Dhamma and by practicing meditation and developing your spirituality, you acquired a lot of positive thoughts. By the power of this spirituality, may you be well, happy and peaceful. May no harm come to you. May no problems come to you. May no difficulties come to you. May your all righteous wishes meet its success. Finally, may all of us attain the final bliss of liberation. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Dukkam pantaca nindukkha, bhayam pantaca ninbhayam, sokam pantaca nissoka, hottu sambe pipanino.